Shalom, this is Hakham Melech ben Ya'aqov of Karaite Insights, and today is Yom HaTruah, the festival of trumpets or shouting, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about Yom HaTruah in a couple of minutes, but I did want to talk a bit about, I was just speaking with Eliezer here about one of the commandments, one of the mitzvot in the Torah, and we were speaking about what's called Shiloh Haken, which is the commandment to send away the mother bird before taking the eggs. And Eliezer was asking me, well, he was asking me about my dog Chili, or about dogs in general, about do they get upset if you try to take the puppies away in front of them. So we have a dog, or had a dog in Israel, have a dog, she's still alive, thank God, and she's a great dog. We have a dog named Chili, and Chili had puppies in 2011, and that was the first time I'd ever had a dog that had puppies and watched the mother dog interact with the puppies. And what I saw was something very interesting, which shed insight to me on the commandment of Shiloh Haken. So we noticed with Chili, we had one of the Chili's puppies had a problem with its leg, and it was born with kind of a deformed leg. And so at a very young age, when it was a day or two old, we had to take this puppy away from Chili to bring it over to the vet. The vet had come over to our house, and so we had to take the puppy away from Chili to bring it over to the vet. And we noticed that as we did this, as we took the puppy away from the litter, Chili would get hysterically upset. She would start whining and crying and barking and jumping up and down, basically, and all this kind of stuff. Or she was lying, so I guess she wasn't jumping up and down, but moving around, and basically she was hysterical. So the vet told us, and correctly so, instead of taking the puppy away from Chili, in front of Chili, what you do is take Chili, lead her outside as if you're taking her for a walk, and then take the puppy away. And so that's what we did. We took Chili outside, or Rivka took Chili outside for a walk, and then while Chili was outside, I took the puppy away from the litter, gave the puppy to the vet, and then the vet took the puppy wherever it was, somewhere, I guess it was to the backyard or something like that, I don't remember. And then we led Chili back in, and we noticed that Chili was not upset in the least. She wasn't crying, she wasn't whining. She, in fact, didn't even seem to know that one of the puppies was missing at all. So she didn't do a count. There were 8 puppies. She didn't do a count and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know, whereas Moni, that was the little one that was missing. And so this, from this experience, and it was repeated a bunch of times over the next 2 or 3 months. And this experience taught me, or shed insight for me, on the mitzvah of Shiloh Haken, right? So what's the mitzvah of Shiloh Haken? The mitzvah of Shiloh Haken is that you should not take away the eggs while the mother is present at the nest. That if you want to take away the eggs, first you shoo away the mother, and then you take the egg, and that's the mitzvah, that's the commandment. So I have come to understand, and that this is exactly what the mitzvah is referring to. This idea that you don't take away the egg right in front of the mother bird, because it's going to greatly upset the mother. But if you send the mother away and then take away the egg, and then the mother comes back, the mother will not even notice it. Won't even notice that one of the eggs is gone. She's not going to do an egg count and say, "Oh my God, where's egg number 7?" Or where's Chicky Poo, or whatever. She might have named it in her little bird brain. So so that really gave me insight into that mitzvah, and that also gave me more general insight into how sensitive the Torah is towards the feelings of animals. Now, of course, we know that the Torah allows us to slaughter animals, or allows us to slaughter animals. In ancient times, they did it for the sacrifices, and certainly meat is allowed to be eaten. So that was kind of, as far as I understand it, a necessary compromise with the violent, bloody, or the violent tendencies of man, who has this desire to spill blood. So the compromise is, okay, you don't kill human beings haphazardly, but if you want to hunt and you want to kill animals, that's where you are. So that's where you are spiritually. So God, but you know what I mean. Yehovah will not me, but will allow you to do that, provided that you don't eat the blood, because the blood is kind of the life essence, and provided that you don't do the same to human beings. You don't hunt and kill human beings. That's called murder, and it's punishable by death. So, but referring to animals, aside from the actual act of killing them, which is also not ideal, which was also compromised, in which there are also a bunch of prophecies saying that in the end of times, that man will return to veganism, essentially, or at least vegetarianism. Aside from that, while the animal's alive, the Torah has a bunch of mitzvot that ensure that animals are treated well, and that's one of them. And there are others as well. For instance, let's just take lo tivashel gedi b'chalev imo. Don't cook a kid in its mother's milk. Now the kid is already dead at that point, so it doesn't matter. But it's the whole idea of having respect for the institution of motherhood, not to take the baby animal and cook it in its mother's milk, which is meant to nourish it, and to use it instead as something to seethe and boil the baby in. And there's something kind of deranged about that, and other mitzvot as well, such as not to take away the baby animal until the 8th day, I believe it is. Other mitzvot, such as not to yoke together an ox and a donkey, not to muzzle the ox as it's plowing, so that it's prevented from eating, and on and on and on. So the Torah, anyone who thinks that the Torah doesn't have incredible understanding and sensitivity towards animals and towards the feelings of animals is incorrect. Unfortunately, in the Jewish world, including in the Haredi world, in the Dati Leumi world, I've seen too many times people just kind of say, to be kind to animals, or to be sensitive to the feelings, or the pain of animals it's almost like, I don't know, Christian, or it's some kind of foreign religion. It's, we're Jews, we slaughter animals, we kill, we eat cholent on Friday nights, my joke about cholent, Eliezer? What's my cholent joke?
It looks the same coming in as it does coming out.
What's the only food that looks the same going in as it does coming out?
Cholent.
Exactly. So, this is kind of, I've seen it many times in Israel and even in the United States, this idea of real Jews have no sensitivity towards animals. We eat meat and we kill meat, and we have hamburgers and steak and whatever.
Not to mention, the great extent of all cost that, I mean, meat that the animal, whether they give, they inject it with hormones, and I would highly doubt that they would give away any animals with diseases when they thoroughly inspect it, because it's a great loss of greed to these such high ranking food processors.
Yep. So that's another issue, even. But
due to the high supply of demand, I should highly doubt that they would waste even an ounce of one of these animals. So, and there's no proper way of slaughtering other than some random rabbi, that's bringing it up. So just don't get me wrong, it could be, it could be 100% kosher, but I highly doubt it's any different than halal.
There you go. Any rate, so let me just finish off here. So be kind to animals. It's not just be kind to Animal Day or Animal Week. The Torah tells us through its mitzvot to be kind to animals, and implies that in the end of days we'll return to being vegan, or at least vegetarian, just as we were.
The animals should at least be allowed to mate on its own.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's the first thing they don't allow it to do. So the animal has no satisfaction in life.
Yeah, and of course the way animals are treated in the United States and even in Israel and many other countries, except for maybe very, very traditional countries like Morocco. When I was in Morocco, the animals are treated extremely well because it's just small local family farms. So aside from, so be kind to animals. Anyway, this is Melech ben Ya'aqov of Karaite Insights reporting from the summit of Mount Greylock, the highest mountain in Massachusetts, and saying Shalom and Yom Teruah 2015, quote unquote, just to locate it in time that everyone knows. Yom Teruah Sameach.